Hello, we're the Cryptid Code. We're your hosts, Harmon,
Kenzie,
JP,
and we like to talk about cryptids, aliens, and generally anything spooky.
and we cuss a lot.
Indeed. And it's good to have the gang back together. It's been a while, guys.
It hasn't been a while. I'm
I
excited.
haven't said my name like that in so long. I tried to stifle a laugh really hard.
Me too. Oh,
I saw
shit.
your face and I was like, man, I haven't heard that in a while.
I know, right? Because like saying my own name, I was like, it's been a minute.
So you've actually got the cryptid this week, Kenzie?
That is me. Yes, I do. Are you guys excited?
Yes.
What else do you have for me to
In
not
the last
believe?
3 episodes, I need a rest.
What'd you say, JP?
I'm excited to have something else to not believe in.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Um,
I'm on it.
so are you guys ready for this cryptid? Because it's not even like a cryptid question mark. Okay.
Well, now it's just not on brand.
It's kind of on brand.
I'm
Just a little
canceling
bit.
this episode.
Don't cancel this episode. You have no right. You have no
And
say.
it's not really a cryptid. So this week we're covering frogs.
Oh, shit. Never mind. I'm down.
The frog man. No. Okay. Ahem. I believe this might be our first ghost on this channel. Harmon, fact check me. Is that true?
We did the Ackley house haunting, so this would be the second ghost.
So this is the second ghost. Excuse me. And what better ghost than one from our home state, guys? You ready for this? There are newspaper articles about this case, which, you know, I am a sucker for newspaper articles. And it also involves a murder investigation.
Ooh.
So we begin in 1896. Elva Zona Heister met and shortly married.
Well, hold on. Can you say that name again?
Elva. E-L-V-A. Zona Heister. Heaster.
Already, that's not a real fucking name.
A witch.
She's a witch, yeah.
It's a Final Fantasy character.
Here, the names.
Yeah, it's Armin. You're right.
The names get more complicated, so hold on here. So, Elva Zona Heister met and shortly married Erasmus Stribling Trout Shoe, a blacksmith in Greenbrier.
Wait, hold on. His name is
You're
Trout Shoe?
lying.
Erasmus, Erasmus, Stribling, Stribbling, Trout Shoe, Shue.
And our first witness, John Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Okay. He was a blacksmith in Greenbrier, guys. Okay. So from here on forth, I will be referring to Elva, his wife, as Zona, because that was the nickname she preferred. She went by her middle name. And she did end up taking his last name, so she ended up having 4 names, which was Elva Zona Heister Shoe. Okay.
Is it a fraternity?
And Erasmus Stribling Trout Shoe, the blacksmith. He often went by Edward.
Sex move?
He often went by Edward, a name he gave himself, might I add, or Trout. And for the sake of simplicity, I'll be referring to him as Trout, but later you will hear him referred to as Edward. It just kind of depends. So just roll with me here. So we got Zona and we got Trout. Zona was Trout's 3rd wife. Okay. So come January of 1897, only 3 months after they were married, an 11-year-old neighbor of theirs who occasionally assisted Zona with chores and grocery shopping, happened upon her body when entering their home. She was found at the bottom of the staircase. The boy proceeded to run home and alerted his mother, who immediately alerted the police. But while she was calling the police, he proceeded to run into town where Trout was working. So when Trout heard of his wife's passing, he rushed home, immediately picked up her body before police could arrive and took her to bed. He then changed her clothes and called a local doctor, Dr. Knapp, Knapp, to examine her.
How is it the most normal name so far?
It really is, isn't it? So Trout, however, did not allow Dr. Knapp to do a full examination of his wife's body. And Dr. Knapp, because he was so local, he ended up arriving before police did. With the limited information gathered of this examination, it had been determined that Zona died likely from a heart attack, and police accepted this cause of death at the time. She was then buried at Soule Chapel Methodist Cemetery, and Soule is spelled Soule. I don't know why we have some funky spellings today, but that's just what's happening. She was buried there on January 24th, just a day after her passing, which is literally unheard of now, might I add.
Well, okay, I just need to say, my mental image of this man at the funeral is a giant fish.
His name's Trout.
Black suit and a top hat.
He's got a little bow tie, and I love the top hat.
And he talks like this. Oh God, my wife is dead.
And,
I pushed her down the steps.
like when I think of, that bass fish that people have that like is robotic.
Oh, the talking fish?
Yeah, you press a button, he turns his head, and he starts singing a song to you.
Oh, yeah.
The Jam Shannon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm glad we all know what I'm talking about. I hear a cat in a tunnel.
I don't.
Hello, Kiwi. She's in a tunnel. Anyways. So about a month after Zona's burial, her mother, Mary Jane Heaster, began telling people around town that Zona's spirit had been appearing at her bedside. According to her ghost, Zona had explained that her husband Trout murdered her in a fit of rage, making her neck, quote, pop, having broken it, also claiming that he had been abusive their whole 3 months of marriage. So Mary Jane became so defensed. I can't talk today.
How many beers did you have before we started this?
I said 3.5.
This is going to be fun for
This is
future
beautiful.
edit.
This is good. Harmon, I salute you.
Yeah, Harmon, you're going to do great. I promise.
I
Okay.
don't think I am.
You're going to suffer, I promise.
So Mary Jane became so convinced that her daughter's ghost was truly visiting her that she went to the local prosecutor who does all the cases and convinced him to reopen Zona's case. It's a little fuzzy as to whether or not the prosecutor actually believed in the ghost story, but it caused enough doubt that Dr. Knapp was approached once more about his findings. And he agreed with the prosecutor, saying that it was entirely possible that he had made a mistake in labeling her cause of death. And from what I read online, the way that Trout handled his wife's body, like he was there in the room the whole time, didn't let Dr. Knapp turn her over or anything. It was just a visual examination. He wasn't allowed to touch her. He wasn't allowed to do anything like that. And again, Trout did change her clothes and moved her from where she died. And as of today's day and age, all of those things are absolute no-nos because that's how you fuck up evidence.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. So he couldn't touch her at all. He could just look at her from a distance. He was like, must have been a heart attack.
He was in the room. He could see coloration of her skin. I mean, he was able to see her arms and everything, make sure she wasn't restrained or anything. And based on the way that she had been laying and the witness report of that little boy from next door, it looked like she must have had a heart attack as she was coming down the stairs, and she collapsed and fell the rest of the way. And that's what killed her.
Well, after thorough examination, I'm pretty sure she's dead.
Yeah. And again, it wasn't that thorough, but also no one had any reason to believe otherwise because up to this point, these were normal people in normal society.
Well, I also
keep it.
love that the deputy, sheriff, whatever, constable is just like, he moved the body, buried it a day later. Nothing suspicious here.
Well, you also have to consider the time period. This is 1890s. And I'm pretty sure like burial services did happen pretty fast, especially in regards to stuff that was considered natural causes. And I sincerely doubted that they like filled bodies up with formaldehyde at that time.
Yeah, but it's still kind of suspicious amogus that he just moved the body.
But we're also looking at this like 200 years later. You know what I mean?
Because hold on. It's not been 200 years since 1890.
It's been like 120 years.
Just an 80-year difference. Nothing too much.
Nothing too big.
It's like 130 years.
So, back on point.
Is my math wrong?
No, you're right. But 130 in terms of time is much smaller than 200.
It's really not. It's in the same vein.
Is not, but continue.
Okay.
Keep talking.
I'm going to keep talking.
What's the difference between 1950s and 2030s?
Energy.
So, at this point, Dr. Knapp and the prosecutor both kind of agree that things are a little questionable, even without the ghost testament. Okay. And the reason that this whole thing happened is because her mother was so convinced that she showed up and was like, I refuse to leave your office until you believe me.
She pulled a Karen.
She did. And it worked.
Manager.
Man, even when they die, they can do that.
It worked. Zona's body was exhumed. Her body was re-examined on February 22nd. So she hasn't even really been in the ground for a full month. And they did her like re-examining in the town's schoolhouse, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, you gotta let all the kids see what a dead woman looks like.
And they're like, here, kids, here's your biology lesson. A real body.
Frogs.
Oh. So it apparently took 3 hours for the full examination that they did. And by the end of it, they discovered that Zona was indeed murdered. The report itself wasn't published until March, but it said that, quote, the discovery was made that the neck was broken and the windpipe mashed. The neck was dislocated between the first and second vertebrae. And you know what's funny about that? I don't have my first vertebrae. So someone could choke me and you couldn't tell.
I think your windpipe would still be crushed.
Oh, that's true. Oh, excuse me. Actually, he said mashed.
Oh, sorry.
Mashed.
I mean, okay, that implies to me that he did not choke his wife. He just throat punched her until she died with his big blacksmith hands. Have you ever seen the grip strength that a blacksmith has? It's horrifying.
I assume pretty well because, I imagine like blacksmiths from like Dragon Age, with the big swords and stuff.
You're a fucking nerd, dude.
I'm a nerd.
Don't we know
yeah, you're a fucking nerd. What, Harmon? What'd you say?
Don't we know like a blacksmith? Don't we know someone who does that?
Yeah, my best friend's dad's a blacksmith, and he has a big, meaty, crushing hands.
Mashing hands.
So you think he'd like throat punch his wife just because he's a blacksmith?
I'm just saying, he has the grip strength to just crush someone's neck.
All right, so okay. So I'm going to continue.
Oh no.
I don't know where to continue.
I can't believe Trout killed, what was her name? Onomatopoeia?
Her name's Zona.
No, her name's Onomatopoeia. That's what it is from now on.
Okay. Zona, excuse me. All right. So
That's
I'm just gonna
we're all gonna get fucking haunted.
I'm just gonna pick up. So once all of this came to light, Trout was quickly arrested. And while he was held, an investigation was done into his background, and it was discovered that his previous 2 wives had also died under mysterious circumstances.
Oh, he murdered more women.
Probably.
Then he saw like this motherfucker around stairs.
So his first wife was said to have died from a broken neck after falling off a stack of hay. So, imagine like a wagon with hay on top, and she was up there. and then she fell. And when she fell, she like broke her neck.
I know what hay bales look like, but thank you. Thank you for the visual.
In case you needed it. So his other wife, while assisting him in chimney repairs, had a rock dropped on her head and it killed her instantly.
Okay, that one looks less like an accident, though. I mean, like, how did he cover for that one?
I mean, I can see that happening. It might not have been like a rock. Well, if they have like a stone chimney, not a brick chimney, I mean, that could definitely happen. That's the believable one to me. The other two, not as much.
I prefer the mental image that instead of dropping a brick on her, is a completely brick chimney. He just has one out of place rock.
He just launched it.
Just fucking beamed it at her.
So while in prison awaiting trial, Trout often shared his belief with other inmates, as well as like the police that were there, like guarding him or whatever, that he would be found innocent beyond a doubt, seeing that he was just a current suspect and the only evidence against him came from a ghost. He also talked freely about his lifelong wish to marry 7 women.
Wait, like Bluebeard?
I don't know. He apparently it's his lifelong dream to marry 7 women, and he was halfway there technically because 3 of them were dead.
I mean, it's, for those who don't know, Bluebeard is an old fairy tale. It's like some dude with 7 wives and he murders all of them. I think that's it. I think that's the entire story. Fairy tales were weird, dude.
I feel like there might be a little more meat to that, but maybe not. Maybe it's just all potatoes.
All potatoes. So on June 22nd, 1897, Trout's trial finally began. Mary Jane was one of the witnesses testifying against him during this case. The prosecution initially tried to avoid any ghost talk during the proceedings, but the defense, aka the people defending Trout, brought it up because they're stupid. And unfortunately,
we got ghosts of our own.
Well, unfortunately, this tactic did not work because I think their point was to try and show that Mary Jane, Zona's mother, was crazy. And apparently, she had been unwavering in her testimony and believed without a doubt that her daughter did indeed visit her as a ghost, and that Trout was 100% the cause of her death. And since the defense brought up the ghost to begin with, the judge could not really tell the jury the judge could not tell the jury to forget what they had heard. And interestingly, many in the community in general had already begun to believe that Mary Jane was telling the truth. So couple that with the jury hearing her unwavering testimony, the jury could easily have been swayed by all of this stuff. And whether or not Mary Jane's tale actually swayed them, on July 11th, Trout was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his wife. So there is a highway marker just a few miles outside of Greenbrier that has the name Greenbrier Ghost. Following the name is a short description on Zona's story as followed. Quote, interred in a nearby cemetery is Zona Heister Shue. Her death in 1897 was presumed natural until her spirit appeared to her mother to describe how she was killed by her husband, Edward. Autopsy on the exhumed body verified the apparition's account. Edward, found guilty of murder, was sentenced to state prison. And that there is our tale.
What a wacky time. Imagine spending your life in prison because of a ghost.
Yeah, just a ghost.
How many court cases in America have been won by ghosts?
I don't know.
Wait. This is actually kind of an interesting idea because the act they hate house haunting is because of a Supreme Court ruling. New York State Supreme Court, but it's what led to the Ghostbuster ruling. So it's weird that of the two ghosts we've covered, they both have like a weird legal spin to them.
Damn, I don't know if I didn't realize if I became a ghost, I got a fucking legal team.
It's just a bunch of like bed sheets and suits.
Wait, are the bed sheets wearing the suits, or are there suits underneath the bed sheets?
Yes.
All right.
I just love the mental image of like, and for our first witness, bring out the Ouija board. Jury, please circle your hands together. Thank you.
So real quick, I decided to Google if there were any like court cases in America that have to do with ghosts. And there is like a few different ones listed. There's Stambovsky versus Ackley, which is commonly known as the Ghostbusters ruling.
We covered that
the
in
one
the house haunting.
Yeah.
And then there's 13 spooky Halloween court cases. A spirited look at the common law of ghosts.
I hate this so much.
There's a Supreme Court rejection about a different case.
Well, I know in Saudi Arabia, it might have been Saudi Arabia or Qatar, that a family was haunted by a jinn, and they attempted to like sue it in court.
Sue a ghost.
Yes.
Sue a jinn, which we're talking like, you know, the power of a ghost versus the power of a jinn. I wouldn't want to fuck with that.
Isn't it a jinn? Like, don't they like eat you or something?
They're genies.
Yeah.
And the power of a jinn cannot match the power of attorney at law.
Oh, Jesus.
God, I hate that.
Well, do you guys want to hear some popular culture?
Of
It
course.
has to do with this?
Yeah. Greenbrier Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we figured.
No, attorney at law. That's what I want to hear about.
So our first example is Birdman, attorney at law.
Yeah.
Great show. Anybody who hasn't seen it, go watch it.
I'm one of the people who have not seen it.
Go watch it. Stephen Colbert is in it, and he's great. He's fantastic.
So ghosts.
Specifically the Greenbrier Ghost, popular culture. So a woman named Katie Letcher Lyle wrote a book called The Man Who Wanted 7 Wives, The Greenbrier Ghost and the Famous Murder Mystery of 1897. So I have a direct quote from Katie as to her personal theory on the case. Quote, Mary knew Trout to be clever, unprincipled, and persuasive. If he'd murdered once, he could murder again. Perhaps she feared that if no one validated her accusations, Trout would prove extremely dangerous. So pretending to receive the news directly from Zona, she could appeal to the superstitions of her mountaineer neighbors and get a lot of public attention. As it turns out, she didn't need the ghost story, for Trout was convicted, according to every account, strictly on earthly considerations without any unearthly ghosts. But again, that could technically be argued because there is no like solid proof that the ghost story had zero sway on the jury. There is a possibility that the ghost story did sway them, especially with Mary's like testimony.
This is 1897 West Virginia. People definitely like ghost.
Yep, I agree with that.
But they're not going to put that on like the jury opinion. They're not going to be like, well, the ghost said he did it, so I hang the fucker.
Yeah. Well, and again, he wasn't put to death. He was only put in prison for life. State prison, might I add.
I don't know. That's unusual for the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. What year is this?
1897.
Oh, he could have been in Moundsville.
He was in Greenbrier.
No, I mean the prison.
Oh.
Moundsville Penitentiary.
Was it there already at that time?
I'm looking that up now.
Okay.
I would look it up too, but I don't remember the guy's name.
1866.
Oh yeah, then he had to have gone there.
Yeah. Oh, he could be a ghost right now.
Hey, I would hope he would be dead by now.
Bitch.
I mean, it's been a long time.
Because Moundsville is haunted. How ironic would it be if he is a ghost now?
Oh, well, I guess we have to go to Moundsville, guys. See if Trout can talk to us.
Get his side of the story.
Yeah, exactly. His side.
So Trout, what happened?
Like, your wife's
I
gonna
pushed the bitch down the steps.
He's like, I didn't actually choke her, contrary to popular belief.
Punched her in the
I just
throat
pushed
a
her.
dozen times.
Yeah, did you hear? It was mashed.
Mashed. So, and the thing is, there are also several other books written about or based on the case out there as well. Obviously, I didn't like list all of them because there were a decent amount. But what I like the most is that the case also apparently had an impact on local theater, which is something us 3 theater kids can appreciate.
Oh, God, don't remind me.
I haven't been a theater kid in a long time.
It's been a couple years, hasn't it, guys? You remember the trauma?
The trauma.
The trauma. In 1998, there was a play called Zona that was put on somewhere. And in 2004, there was another play released called The Ghost of Greenbrier County. And both of those were directly related to this case. And interestingly, because you know how theater is, there are also multiple musical adaptations of the tale as well.
Oh my God. What would the songs even be?
I pushed that bitch down the steps.
Wouldn't this has to be called MASH?
MASH. And not like the fun MASH. Isn't it like, like the fuck, marry, kill? Isn't that like a MASH game?
No, there's just a show called MASH, and it stands for something. I don't remember what it stands for.
It's like medical something or other.
Well, I mean, I know there's like an actual show called MASH, but there's like another MASH that like was similar to the fuck, marry, kill thing.
What?
MASH a simple hoe.
Yeah.
Sorry, murder a simple hoe.
Murder.
There we go.
That sounds better.
This is the quality content our audience comes here for.
Obviously.
Yeah, for murdering simple hoes.
Murdon.
Oh, the final one where it gets sent off to prison has to be called Trout is Out.
Trout is out. Okay, well that's all I have,
we
guys.
believe in this? No, I don't. He
Hey.
down the fucking steps.
No, I mean, like, come on. I thought that was pretty cool because, like, you usually don't see like ghosts holding up in court.
Here's the thing, though. I might have to agree with Jake on this one.
Wow.
You pick something with no physical evidence, and like
There's a
jury.
But
you
it's a
have is a
ghost. When do
ghost.
ghosts have physical evidence, Harmon?
Ectoplasm.
Yeah,
That's
haven't you
not
seen
even a
Ghostbusters?
thing. Ectoplasm's
Photos.
from Ghostbusters, you flippin' ninny.
Ectoplasm is from the 1800s occult movement.
I disbelieve.
Arthur
Arthur
Sir,
Conan Doyle
bitch.
believed in ectoplasm.
Dislike.
He
Thumbs
also
down.
believed in fairies.
No.
Well, is your only argument, Kenzie, that a ghost won the case?
Yes.
That's not enough for me. That's just
Y'all act like I believe this.
So is this a triple no?
It's a triple no.
That bitch got pushed down the steps.
You know,
I don't think she got pushed down the steps. I kind of do believe that maybe she was like choked, like to
I
death.
think he did both. I think he crushed her neck and threw her down the steps.
I mean, it's possible. He might have
He
like
punched
chucked her
her
down the
throat
stairs
so
after
hard
he
she
already
went
killed her
flying
to
down
make
the
it,
steps.
make it look like she fell.
He just one punched her right in the throat.
Bam!
She just flew back.
This brings an interesting question of like why you like moved her to the bed then.
Well, because he I think what probably happened, this is the person who listens to true crime here, okay? What
yes,
probably
yes.
happened, he might have like choked her and killed her and not like obviously wanting it to look like it was real. He just flung her body down the stairs and then he left for work and allowed someone to find her, knowing full well he'd beat the police back. So as that, he was like, cool, I'm here before the police are. I'm going to change your clothes. I'm going to move her from this position, make it out to be like I am this like horrified, very upset husband. And I don't want others to see her in this fashion. So I'm going to protect her. And everyone believed that bit because his wife just died.
And thank God that policing was still a new thing.
Yeah.
This is the era where to quote John Mulaney, as long as you weren't still there, the police weren't going to catch you.
That's pretty accurate. And again, the only reason this case was even reopened was because of her mother. Zona's mother, Mary.
Her mama's baby died.
Yeah, and she was probably devastated, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna prove that this motherfucker killed her.
Because it's entirely possible she just knew he was abusive the whole time. But what's she gonna do about it? And then once the murder happens, she's like, okay, now I have to do something.
Well, but
ghost.
how do you? It's also how do you convince them to exhume a body? You know what I mean? So this was probably the only way.
Hysterical mother in 1897 screaming about ghosts. They're probably gonna be like, well, let's find out.
So I think it worked. I think she did what she had to do,
It definitely works.
And it also proved that he most certainly did kill his wife. They obviously won't be able to prove the other two wives that he lost.
Until their ghosts come back.
Oh yeah, but obviously it's been 130 years, and
we're waiting.
That didn't happen.
I'd like to extend a formal invitation for those two ghosts to come onto the Cryptid Code and give their stories as well. Is this what we're settling on? Triple no?
Triple no.
100%. Yeah.
It's been a while since we had one of these. I don't know the last time we had one of these.
The triple yes is much more rare because I don't believe anything.
I know. I was about to say, when has there ever been a triple yes, JP? The only time there should have been a triple yes was the fucking alien children in Kentucky.
Yeah, that one was a triple yes. I did say yes on that one.
Did you say yes on that one?
I think I said they weren't aliens, but I did believe there was something.
Which was still not good enough.
It's close. It's close as you're gonna get.
Good enough for me, hombre.
I don't know. I just want him to, for once, to say he believes in something.
Too goddamn bad.
Well, hopefully the season finale will be that.
Listen, if does not.
No. We're keeping it a surprise.
Okay, well, you
edit
can edit that
Just
out.
Bleep it out so people are just like, what did she say?
If does not convince JP, nothing will.
Look, man, I want to believe in it. I want to believe in it hard, but
he's already convinced that he's not going to believe. Harmon, how does that make you feel?
I want to believe in this. I want to believe in this more than I want to believe in anything else.
Even the Snallygaster.
Snallygaster, yeah, even more than him.
That's because the Snallygaster is a murderer.
Is a murderer.
He's a pretty cool murderer. You gotta admit, like the tentacle tongue. Like, come on, that's pretty.
Oh,
neat.
That part's just sexy.
But are we done? Should we get into the outro?
Get into the outro, Harmon.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us for another lovely episode. I think it's episode 11 of season 2, which means I pointed this out last time. We passed episode count of last season, guys. Woo! We're growing. We're expanding. We're getting better.
Nice. Go us. Even though JP and I weren't here for like half of them.
And now we're available on Stitcher, Google Podcasts. We're expanding, and the listens are really reflecting that. We recently passed 500 listens, my guys.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the photo. It's great.
I would love to see this. Yes, please.
Wait, say it again? I didn't hear it.
We've passed 500 listens.
500 listens?
Sorry, I interrupted there.
No, it's okay. It's just exciting.
But if you want to keep up with the updates, follow us on Twitter at the Cryptid Code.
Yes.
And if you have suggestions or ideas for stories we should cover or you'd like to hear about, you can email them to us at thecryptidcode@hotmail.com.
Hey, we have an email address too? God damn.
Don't let it fool you guys. We knew all about all of this.
Yeah, we obviously knew everything. We are totally in the loop, obviously.
They're slowly realizing I'm the man behind the curtain.
Well, that's what happens when you have two workaholics, aka me, aka JP, and then you work at a spooky insane asylum. So you get exposed to more creepy stuff that gives you ideas. Our jobs are not like that.
I need to like do maybe our Halloween episode should be me talking about my job.
That'd be cool.
Maybe.
Well, because
But,
I've seen your coworker post on TikTok, and some of the stuff he's posted, I've been like, well, goddamn, Harmon works in a haunted place.
Oh, so are we still recording?
Yes, we are.
Oh.
We haven't done the outro yet.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
I'll edit this down as best as I can.
Yeah, Harmon, take your time on
do the
editing, my
outro so
guy.
Harmon has to do less work.
Hey, I already got an episode in the can. I can take at least 2 weeks for this baby. For those join us from the lovely state of West Virginia, the Mountain Mama, here's some friendly advice. Don't murder your wife. If you do, watch out for ghosts. The testimony holds up surprisingly well in court.
By the way, most murders that happen to like the other spouse is always the first person they look at. So like maybe don't murder your spouse.
But most of all, stay spooky out